Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Folks that know the channel, we've been working on that WRX out there. Probably haven't posted the video for that JDM swap yet. But the bus has, we're in the 75 Westfalia. I've had some questions, and some people have asked me to show some of the things I've done with some of the interior pieces in here. I just figured I would do a quick video before the crazy snowstorm that's coming here in New Jersey. Just to kind of go over the sink, because I get the most questions about this, because in one of my videos, when I talk about the diesel heater that I put in this, I mentioned that there's hot water in here. So I just was going to go over how I did that, sort of what it looks like, the parts I use, so anybody else who wants to throw a hot water heater inside their bus can do that. It's pretty nice to have hot water to wash your hands. So basically, when I got this bus, this cabinet was in pretty rough shape. Didn't really have the veneer on a lot of pieces of it, so I had to take it apart, including the countertop. The countertop, I had to make this countertop, so I don't know if you can tell, this countertop is not the same veneer as the rest of the bus or the rest of the parts are. Because I didn't have it. The countertop was rotted away. So I had to take this apart anyway. This piece here also, I don't think I did as good a job on the stain on this piece. This piece also was rotted out, and there was a lot of damage to the veneer on the doors. I mean, I could have re-veneered them, I guess. I didn't. I just kind of went down this route and made it look a lot better. But in the process, because I had this apart, I had the opportunity to improve it. So the stock system on these, you have a little 12-volt pump, and you have, let me get the light down here so I can show you guys as we go. Let me open this up. You have a water tank here. So this is the stock water tank. Nothing's changed with this, but that's basically, you get the little 12-volt pump that comes with the bus, you get the water tank, and then up top here, there's a, it's almost like a little single spout push button job that just kind of runs a little bit of water out from this tank down here. This is the fill for it, and this is the original fill for the original tank. That part, I mean, the little faucet thing obviously doesn't have provisions for a hot and a cold, so I had to do something to improve the hot and cold situation. So what I did while I had it apart, and I'm going to try to show you guys, I'm not sure what the best view is going to be. Yeah, that's just... So down here, just before we get into the guts of the system, this is this cabinet down here. You can just see the water line and the drain, and then I've got that's actually a stove. So technically, it is a military sterilization unit. You can see the U.S. stamp on top. It's a sterilization unit for like surgical supplies, but it works awesome as a camping stove. So it lives in here and clatters around, makes a lot of noise. So I tried to keep the cabinets fairly the standard. This cabinet originally held the collapsible spare, I believe, on these cars. It's one of the reasons that people bolted the tires to the front in the U.S. because the collapsible spare sucked. I think I'll be able to show you guys the guts of the operation from in this little door here. So what I did is, in here, you can see sort of the guts of the system, and I'll sort of explain what I did. So this water pump here, and you can kind of see the model and whatnot of the pump. That's your standard, it's almost for RVs, like you'll see them a lot in RVs. It's just a potable water pump that will, it pressures up and then shuts off. You turn it on, it pressures up, it turns on, turn the faucet on, it turns on, pumps water, turn the faucet off, it pressures up, shuts off. That's the generic, and that runs on 110. The water heater back there is, as you can see, it's pretty small. I want to say it's like 1.5 gallons. Maybe it's 2 gallons. I don't remember. I don't know if you could see over there. Maybe you guys could see it. Probably not. That's just a regular, again, 110 electric hot water heater. And then there's, I put this junction block in here with GFI because, again, safety first, guys. You're running water here and electric at the same time. So it's got a GFI outlet for both of those devices. And then I've got this plug here. Hold the light right here, which I can run out this door and plug in to the stock electrical box that's behind this table, which hooks up to the outside. The basic plumbing for it is really simple. It comes out of the bottom of the water tank at the factory location. So this water tank here, it comes out the bottom of this, then it goes directly into the pump. So that's that's this feed line here. It goes into the pump, and then out of the pump it splits. One leg of that split goes to the cold water side up here on the faucet, and the other leg of that split goes to the import of the hot water heater. Out of the hot, and you can see the pipes up there, out of the hot water heater comes into the hot side of the tap up here. Really pretty straightforward. I think fitment and room is the question people always have, like, how did you get it to fit? How does it fit in there? As you can see, there's actually plenty of room. I mean, I don't have a lot of upward height. That was really the tricky part. And this water heater, you find them in RVs, you find them in sinks. I actually got this one out of a military scrub sink that I got out of surplus. Same with the pump. But they're RV units. Like, you can buy these pretty much anywhere. They do make 12 volt equivalents, like this pump, the water pump. I've seen them where they're dual voltage. You can run them on 12 volts or 110. The water heaters, not so much 12 volt. I'm sure they have them, but the battery draw on a hot water heater would probably be counterproductive in an RV situation. So this is all 110 for me. I don't really need this while I'm going down the road. This isn't an RV that I'm going to run off 12 volts. And if I did go to a campsite or something that I didn't have 110 at, I have a little suitcase generator that I would bring. Now, bigger plans, big picture plans, what I would say is, I mean, there's an existing project I'm working on, and I'm filming it. Underneath here, I've got the diesel heater, and, you know, I have the, right now it's just running off a battery bank. I'm going to be implementing a DC to DC charger and a lithium battery, so that I'll be able to run the engine to charge the batteries, which kind of ties in with that plug that's right on the floor there. The sink currently is only set up for 110. The sink, the refrigerator. It only does 110 right now because that's all the power I have to it. That's the 12 volt connector for it. But what I'm going to do is when I get the LiPo set up in here, I will be able to run the refrigerator on that while I'm going down the road because I'll be charging from the engine. That's really why I'm doing the whole DC-DC charger thing, because it'd be nice on longer trips to be able to run the refrigerator and not have to shut it all off and then wait for it to get cold again, because these ammonia evaporative units take a little while to get their stuff together and get going. Fun fact, if you're doing one of these and you have one of these refrigerators, if you have the opportunity, take it out and flip it upside down for at least 3 days. I read that online. Like, when I got that refrigerator, it didn't come in the bus. I actually had the non-refrigerated. It was like the cooler version. When I got this fridge, it cooled okay on 110. Like, it got cold, but I wasn't overly impressed. And I read online somewhere where somebody was like, turn it upside down because the ammonia develops crystals and sinks to the bottom. And it kind of it messes up the efficiency of the evaporative unit, because this is evaporates ammonia basically, and it runs through a loop, and that process of it condensing and then re-evaporating is where you get your cooling. Flip it upside down, it dislodges the crystals and puts them, I don't know what it does with them. I don't know why they go away. I honestly don't know why it works. It sounded crazy to me, but I flipped this thing upside down for a week, and it's 100 times colder, and it gets cold much faster. So, tip I learned, passing on to you guys. So yeah, that's basically it. Like, I hook up outside the bus. Oh, the drain for the sink. The drain for the sink is simple. You could see it in there. There's an existing hole that comes out the bottom of the bus with a collar on the floor where the old drain came out. This one's simply a flexible line. I did put a P-trap in. The P-trap is basically a vapor barrier. So, like, you know, your drain comes down and it does the little loop up and then back down. So there's always a little bit of water in there. You do that in houses to prevent sewer gas from coming in. I did it in here because the thought of a mouse or something climbing up that pipe into my sink grossed me out. So there's water in there. He would have to, or she would have to get through. So the drain just goes straight down. Pretty simple. No tricks to that. But yeah, like I just have the shore power line outside, which is basically an extension cord connector, plug it in, and then when that's plugged in, the interior outlet here is lit up. That's the original GFI. And then I plug in that adapter, that plug I showed you guys, which it feeds both the sink and the refrigerator. And that's how it works. Pretty straightforward. Like I said, I had some people like hit me up and ask like how I put hot water in it, and that's how I did it. I'm not sure. You could definitely do it without taking the cabinet apart, because if you take this cabinet out and flip it around, there's a back to it, but it's flimsy and easy to remove. You could remove the back and do everything I did. I did have to make a new top for me. If you had the original top, you could just drill it for the this faucet type. I probably would have felt bad drilling a good quality original top for those holes, so I don't know how I would have approached that. But your mileage may vary. I was making this from scratch and having to edge it and everything, so that's how I did it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I figured I'd show you guys sort of the interior equipment. I have those grates that sit on top of the stove. They are in here, and they are like in here because they rattle like you would not believe when they are on this. This bus is rattly enough without having those things clanking on the top. But that also works. I have that set up to work on propane, and I'm not going to open it because they'll all fall out, but in here are a bunch of propane bottles, and they just hook up on this, the little 1 pound propane bottles, and that's how I run the sink, or the stove. Outside of that, yeah, I think the rest of this thing is pretty much, I've got it as close back to stock as I can. I had to make this because the previous guy drilled giant holes in it for speakers at some point in its life. And then the radio, I think, is the only other cool thing that I did in here. This radio, it looks just like a regular Sapphire. I think it's a Sapphire 10. Fits the hole, looks vintage, but it's not actually a FM radio anymore. Inside of here, when I got this off of eBay, because I'm not going to pay what it costs to have a working Sapphire radio. I wasn't going to do that. I just don't think it's useful enough with FM anymore. So I got this guy really cheap because it didn't work. I gutted it, and I installed a small amplifier and a small Bluetooth transmitter inside the container. So like when I turn the bus on, you guys can see it lights up, you know, and I don't know if you guys heard that. That was the Bluetooth connecting. Basically, it lights up, it looks legit. These buttons, I can actually push these buttons and make that thing move, but it just immediately connects to my phone, and I can stream music to it, and I am using the original speaker up here. You know, vintage look, less vintage. It sounds like crap off one speaker, but being able to use my phone and have it just connect and have audio, music, and even the hands-free for like talking on it and being able to hear people, it's pretty good because with the engine in the back of the bus, you get all kinds of quiet up here. It's kind of neat. So yeah, that's pretty much it for like bus interior. Thought I would just give you guys the overview that a few people have asked for. Next project I'm working on the bus is putting in the DC-DC charger along with a LiPo battery and wiring that all up for the diesel heater. The diesel heater in this is awesome. There's another video on my channel. It might be the first video I ever did on this channel, but it's up on kind of like an overview of that. So yeah, thanks for stopping by and checking it out. If anybody has any questions on the stuff I've done or wants to hear more about some piece of the bus, let me know. Otherwise, stay tuned for some more videos. Thanks for watching.